Sit up straight. Balance your pelvis. So you're sitting evenly on your two sitting bones. One way to know if you have the right amount of height is if you can do that. So if you're more on the back portion of your sitting bones and you keep on defaulting to that position, then you're not high enough. And then if you keep defaulting to the front portion of your sitting bones, then you might be too high. There's kind of a worry among students when they're especially with a senior teacher, that they will not be sitting high enough and they will be chastised to sitting higher. Descend your thighs. Use your inhalation to lift up through the front of your body. As you exhale, bring your shoulder blades into your back ribs. As you inhale, lift up through the sternum. As you exhale, move the abdomen slightly back. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. Rest your tongue into the base of your mouth. Take slow, even breaths. And then gently open your eyes. Forward to child's pose. Have your knees equal distant apart, so they're the right and left knee are the same distance from the edge of the mat. Push your hands forward to move your hips back as you lower your torso towards the floor. Press your palms into the floor. Lift your forearms away from the floor. Turn your upper arms out. Get space along your neck. You can even try that. You can turn your upper arms in and see what that feels like on your neck, and then turn them out and see what that feels like on your neck. Come up to your hands and knees. So knowing that we want to keep a soft neck, we're going to turn our upper arms out, tuck your toes under, and lift your hips up. And when you come up, there's a tendency to turn the arms in again. You have a little more power that way. But turn them out so your head can hang, neck relaxed. Press your hands down and forward. Oh, I'm just coming to look, yes. So Mati, do you have blocks? Yes. Push your thighs back. Yeah, a little more. Lift your heels up. Yeah. Now move your chest towards your thighs. Then move your thighs away from you. And then keep that movement. And take your heels a little closer to the floor. Then walk your hands and your feet towards each other. Fold forward into Uttanasana. Blocks or no blocks. Straight legs. They go any straighter, Kathy? Maybe a little. Lift the backs of your buttocks up. Yeah, that's better. All right, I think we'll work on hamstrings today. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Take a blanket. And roll it up. If you don't have a blanket, you can use just about anything. And then the ball of the foot is on the blanket. The heel is on the floor. And you may need blocks. But press your thighs back, press down through the big toe side of the foot, fold forward, either hands onto bricks or the floor or the shins. Marsha the other way. The heels on the floor, the toes on the, yes. Yes. Lift your inner thighs up. There we go. Yeah. Okay, you can step off the blanket and stand back up. Now, take that same roll, place it behind your knees, and sit into Vajrasana, like this. So Vajrasana, the heels, or the feet are together. The heels may not come together, but the feet are together. And if it slides out, you can put your head into the floor and squeeze it back in. So you can move. If this is just not enough, you can do what I'm doing, which is a little massage. So I'm leaning right and left to really feel something going on in the calves. Might as well do something with the arms. Oh. Okay, come on, where are my cat people? Take your arms up. I know Julia's a cat person. All right, bring your arms forward. Take your right arm underneath your left. And then squeeze your arms together. Bring your arms out to the side. And then the other one on top. And then take your arms out. Come off the blanket roll. Keep it, so just put it to the side somewhere. Come back up into Adho Mukha Svanasana. See if it feels differently than the one you did before. Maybe the hamstrings are a little more open. More light. Yes. All right, walk your hands and your feet towards each other, Uttanasana. Then place your hands on your hips, come all the way back up. Okay. Now get that roll again and place it towards the back edge of your mat. Many of you are familiar with this, but let's do it anyway. And then if you're tight in the hamstrings, you'll need some blocks. So again, heels on the floor. Now, if you're up here, you're not going to go that far forward, because if you go too far forward, the blocks are not stable enough. But if you're here or lower, then you're going to see, keeping your legs straight and your heels on the ground, how far forward you can take the bricks or your hands in kind of a short downward facing dog. Yes, it may not be that far forward. You have your heels on the floor should automatically press your thighs back. Soko, the toes go on the roll and the heels go on the floor. Although that one is a lot nicer. Yeah. And the roll won't always stay in place. All right. Then you can walk your hands back and lift yourself up. Okay. So this is something that I probably won't be able to see that well, but we'll try it anyway. So let me tilt my camera down just a touch. All right. So the front of my foot is lifted. So I'm going to do it basically the same thing without the roll. So I keep the front of my foot lifted and walk my hands forward, either on blocks or without blocks. We won't be there that long.
Your place is kind of dark. It's hard to see.
It is, yeah. I was trying to figure out how to get more light. I opened up this. I might have to get like some kind of spotlight or something. Yes. And once you've tried that, you can lower your toes down. Chaya, it's without the roll this time, so no roll. Take out, yes. Oh, okay, I just couldn't see it. Yeah. Ah. The roll was in the way. There we go, yeah. All right. So feet up, walk forward, then walk back. And come up. All right. There's another way to do this. And so I'll get closer, and then I think I'll be a little better view. All right, it's a little messy. I'll work on this as far as the lighting goes in here. But my heels are on the blocks, and I'm keeping my feet lifted off the blocks. And then I come into a shortish downward dog. Maybe if I open up these. So if you don't have blocks, then you have to do it without blocks. So it's kind of the same thing you just did. Oops.
Mary, this is Sumati. I have a question.
Sure.
When I'm doing this, my hands don't even reach the floor. So what can I do?
So you can just do the first one with blocks under your hands rather than.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so that might be better as far as light goes. All right. So your hands may not reach the floor, but if your hands do reach the floor, don't let your toes come towards the floor. Yeah, there we go. So you're working the front of your shin. Oh, we got a second set of blocks. That will also work. So toes up. And if you've been there for a while, come down because that's a lot of work on the front of your shin. Or if you're just trying it out, just try it out, see what it's like. All right. Come up. Place the blocks at the back edge of your mat for Trikonasana. Stand Tadasana, weight even on both your feet. Take your hands in front of your chest. Take your arms and legs wide. Turn your right leg out. Turn your left leg in. Bring your right hand out. Either on your shin, on a tall block, on a short block, on the floor. All right, move your right hip forward as you move your left hip back. Your shoulders are directly over your right wrist. And then if your hand is on the floor or a block, you're going to keep your right heel on the floor as you lift the front of the right foot. So for some of you, this will actually make it easier. But this is the same principle as lifting the toes in Uttanasana. And then put the toes down. Press through your left foot. Inhale, lift up. Turn to the other side. Press down strongly with your left big toe. Take your left arm down. Move your left hip forward, your right hip back. Have your shoulders directly in line with your left wrist. Then, if your hand is on something other than your leg, I don't know if you do this with your hand on your leg. It would be more difficult, I guess. Lift the front of your foot up. Then lower the foot down, press through your right foot, inhale, come up. Turn your toes to the front and step or jump your feet together. All right, put both blocks on the right side of your mat. Have enough room for your right foot to go in between them. All right, step your feet out. For the first one, place your hands on your hips, move your elbows back, lift your chest, turn to the right. So your right leg turns out, your left leg turns in. Press down with your left heel. Rotate your left hip around. Lift your chest, take your elbows back, look up. Then with your exhalation, fold forward over your front leg and bring your hands down to the bricks. If your hands easily reach the floor, you can put your hands on the floor. But keep both legs straight. Press down with the base of the right big toe. Then walk your bricks or your hands as far out in front of you as possible. And see how that is a little more hamstring work in the front leg. Walk your hands back so they're either side of your front foot. And then again, kind of going with this theme, lift the front of the right foot up. Now, when you lift the front of the right foot up, it does two things. First, it gives you more of a stretch in the calf. But the other thing it does is it moves your right hip back. So you can try it again. So pay attention to your right hip. Put your right foot down. And then lift your right foot up. And it tucks your right hip back and actually tucks it in a little bit. So you won't be able to completely keep that. But see how much you can keep as you extend the right foot down. Then hold on to the bricks. Lift yourself up. Turn towards the center. Turn to the left. Roll your right hip in. Press down with the big toe side of your left foot. Take your elbows back, lift your chest. Then with your exhalation, fold over your front leg. Walk your bricks as far forward as possible. Press your hands into the floor like you were doing, or into the bricks like you were doing downward dog, to move your hips back. Then walk your bricks back in, or your hands, or whatever you understand. And then lift the front of the left foot up. All right, then lower it back down. Now when you lift it up, pay attention to the hip. So lift the front of the left foot up, tuck the left hip in, keep it there, keep it as far back as possible as you extend the left toes forward. Then place your hands on your hips. Inhale, come up. Turn your toes to the front. Step your feet together. All right. So we're going to sit in Virasana. So you can have any amount of height, but your heels are apart and your knees are together, and you're sitting on something. You're not floating midair. All right. So you can sit on blocks, blankets, towels. Take your hands around behind your back. Roll your shoulders forward. So kind of a hunch. And from this hunch, take your fingers towards your back and then towards the ceiling. Keep this hunch as you walk your hands up. Then unhunch. And notice how if your hands are along your thoracic spine, then you will feel your thoracic spine come in and you might get a little more room. Then press the index finger side together and Paschimottanasana Namaskar. Now, if this isn't possible for your wrist, you can have them down here. And if that's still not possible, you can grab your opposite elbow like this. Just remember to change the grip. All right. Now, I think we did this last week, but you're going to leave your left hand where it is. Move my watch. And then turn your palm to face behind you. So now it's ready for Gomukhasana. Then lift your right arm up, bend your elbow, and see if you can reach your left hand. If you can't reach your left hand, then just press both hands into your back and lift your chest. You're still going to do that if you can. You're going to press both hands into your back and lift your chest, but it's just that everyone, don't worry about getting a strap at this point. All right. Then release the right hand, swing it around, see if you can bring it where the left hand was. Take the right hand where it is, leave the right hand where it is, release the left arm, turn the palm to face away from you, towards the back wall. Lift your left arm up, bend at the elbow and reach down for that right. Again, if you can't reach, press your hands into your back. If you can reach, press your hands into your back. Then release your left arm, swing it around behind, bring it back into Paschimottanasana Namaskar, or whatever works for you. Then release both hands, come out of Virasana. Yes, goes Virasana, and come into downward facing dog. Whatever the name of that pose is. Stretch the backs of your legs. Walk your hands and your feet towards each other. Place your hands in your hips. Come all the way back up. All right. So now we're going to do a Parsvottanasana classic form, meaning that the hands are in Paschimottanasana again. So again, if that doesn't work, just grab the opposite elbow. So from Tadasana, bring your hands in Paschimottanasana. Take your legs apart. Turn to your right. Press down with your left heel and your right big toe, and turn the hips towards the short edge of your mat. Keep your quadriceps engaged. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, start to fold forward. When you're halfway down, roll your shoulders back. Press your feet strongly into the floor. And then with your next exhalation, lower down over your front leg. The trick to keeping your balance is the inside of your right foot. Then focus on your left heel. Inhale, lift up. Turn to the center. Turn to the left. Inhale, lift your chest. Press down strongly with the inside of your left foot and your right heel. Keep that with your exhalation, come halfway down. Find your balance here. Then keep that as you come down as far as is logical for you. Keep your focus on the inside of your front foot. And press through your right heel. Inhale, lift up. Turn your toes to the front. Keep your hands where they are. Take your feet a little wider than they were. So for Parsvottanasana 2, press the outsides of your feet as much as you're pressing the insides of your feet. And then with your exhalation, come down halfway. Find your balance. And if you're able to come down further, lower your head to the floor. If not, you're going to be kind of hanging out. That's okay. You might have to lean back a little bit in order to balance yourself. But then press strongly through your feet. Inhale, lift your chest. Come all the way back up. Slowly release your hands and turn your palms out. And step your feet together. Start to wiggle your fingers. All right. So we're going to turn our hands the other way. So it looks like this. And you may have to bend your knees, but you're going to step on the front of your hand. So the hand goes as much under the foot as possible, and the base of the big toe and the base of the thumb are together. And then you can do that with the other hand. Watch out for the watch. Like this. And if you don't have padding, which this wooden floor does not have padding, it's fairly uncomfortable. I'll go back to my padding. That's better. All right. So bent knees or straight legs, whatever works for you. So if you can't bring your hands down, then bend your knees. If you can, straighten your legs. You might need to lean forward a little bit because there's a tendency to take the weight off the hands. Put it on the hands. Padahastasana, hand-foot pose. Okay, if you have straight, actually, no matter what, let's everyone try this. So whether or not you have straight legs, you're gonna bend your elbows to the side and move your head towards the floor. Then release each hand. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale, come back up. Oh, there's my strap. Okay, so we'll do Padahastasana's partner in crime, which is Padagustasana. So I'm going to place the strap around my big toes. So if you can reach your big toes, or if your hands are flat on the floor in Uttanasana, then you don't need a strap because you're going to use your first two fingers and thumb and grab your big toes. I'll show it with a strap. So your feet are hip width apart, no matter what. And then you want you know when you get bunions, your toes go off to the side, your big toes go off to the side, and the bunion moves towards the center. So here we're pulling the big toes towards each other a little bit by using the strap or our fingers. So fold down as far as makes sense that you can with straight legs. Pull on the strap or pull on the big toes. Look forward. Bring your thoracic spine in. Push your thighs back. And then bend your elbows to the side, lower your head towards the floor. So you're trying to lift your toes off the floor and your toes are pressing down into the floor. Inhale, lift up, release the strap, and come all the way back up to standing. All right. So, Shirshasana or Shirshasana prep, either against the wall, not against the wall. So, figure out what you're going to do. Not going upside down for whatever reason. You can either do the Shirshasana prep, or you can do, you can lie over a brick. Like this. Press your forearms into the floor. As you press your forearms into the floor, move your shoulder blades up your back. Keep your neck and jaw soft. Kathy, take your feet to the left. Yes, a little more. A little more, Kathy. There we go. That's better. Rest when you need to rest, especially those that are doing the preparation. It's a lot of work on the shoulders. Then now they're going a little too far to the left, Kathy. There we go. Actually, I guess I could do shoulder. That stand right here. All right, when you're ready to come down, focus your attention on your forearms, pressing into the floor, lifting your shoulder blades away from the floor, and slowly come down. Rest in child's pose. All right. Next, you're gonna set up for shoulder stand. If you're not doing shoulder stand, you're setting up for Setu, which means that you'll have something under your hips and something under your feet. And I will show what that looks like. So brick at the wall. Should probably do two first. Something like this. So that's option one. The other option is shoulder stand. If you want to work on getting up in shoulder stand, then you bring your setup towards the wall. My setup got messed up. So this is a messed up setup. Now some people do this for their neck, but these are all rolling that way. And that will not be comfortable for my neck. Pull this one out. So we're going to do the Ekapada Sarvangasana variation, one leg down. There's a paw underneath my door. All right, to help yourself get up into Sarvagasana, you come near a wall like this. Your head is on the floor. Your shoulders are on the blanket pile. I hold onto the sides of my mat, bend my knees, keep my upper arms pressing down, roll my hips up, and then roll my shoulders under. Now, if your shoulders go towards the center of the room or towards your head, and they end up off the blanket pile, then you want to come back down and start over. So, Sarvagasana, or Salamba Sarvagasana, supported shoulder stand, supported all points pose actually. So in this pose, press your upper arms into the floor. You want the weight on your upper arms and shoulders, not so much on your elbows and wrists. Have your ankles, hips, and shoulders in one line. So if your ankles are too far forward and your hips are too far back, that's going to put too much pressure on your hands and your wrists. Conversely, I'm just going to show this really quick, but I'm going to show something where your hips are too far forward and there's too much weight on your neck. So, just like when we were sitting and we were trying to get be right on the center of the sitting bones, we want to be right on the shoulders here, not on the neck, not on the wrist. So your throat and your jaw should be relaxed. You're staring at your abdomen, that's staring back at you. All right, so one leg. So keep your left leg where it is. Lower your right leg halfway to the floor. Then with your next exhalation, see if it comes down any lower. Then lift your right leg back up. With your next exhalation, lower your left leg down, halfway to the floor. And then exhale, maybe lower it a little further down. Inhale, lift that leg back up. Readjust your shoulders now. Take both legs overhead into Halasana. Move your thighs away from the floor. If Halasana is not in the cards, you can stay in Sarvagasana. Or you could even have bent knees in Halasana and come into Karnapadasana. Then put the brakes on, so either your hands behind you pressing down into the floor, or your hands above you holding onto your feet to slowly lower out. If you're in Sajibandha, place your feet on the floor, lift your hips, take the block out from under your hips. Move the block to its lowest setting, lower your hips on the lowest setting. Be there for a few breaths, and then take the block out completely. Those that were in Sarvagasana, scoot so that your shoulders are on the floor. And your hips are up on the support. And then roll to your side and go. All right. Sit in Dandasana, staff pose. Have a block and a strap nearby. So if when you're sitting in Dandasana, you're leaning back, you're gonna take a blanket or 3 or whatever, and you're gonna sit on enough height that when you're sitting in Dandasana, you can be on the center point of your sitting bones. So that might be on the ground, it might be on height. All right, have the block against your feet. And place the strap around the block. Yeah, you can use 2 blocks, that's fine. Now pull on the strap and lift your chest. Press your thighs into the floor. And see if keeping your chest lifted, walk your hands forward. So we're not doing this, is what I mean. So don't come forward from your back. Come forward from the tilt of your pelvis. So your back is flat. And if so you come forward until you can no longer keep your back flat. Then pull a little bit more and see if maybe a little more stretch comes. Inhale, lift up. All right, Janu Shirshasana. So you're gonna hold onto the inside of the right leg, roll your right thigh out, and bring the right heel possibly in towards its own thigh. Now, if that doesn't work, it could go against the other thigh. I'm gonna fix my legs. All right. And you can still have the brick and the strap. Now, okay, so I turned, so it actually matters which one is my right leg. There we go. All right. So pull on the strap and lift your chest. Press your left leg into the ground. And as you press your left leg into the ground, take the outside of your right thigh down. And then again, we're going to do the same thing. Walk our hands down, lifting the chest. So it's a upright version of Janu Shirshasana. So as long as you can keep your back flat, you can come as far forward as your hamstrings and your hips allow. So now it's half hamstring, half hip. So even those with tight hamstrings might be limited by their hips and vice versa. So the first thing that touches your leg is your abdomen. No matter what. Even if you have a small abdomen. All right, inhale, come back up. Switch the legs. Bend your left leg, roll your left thigh out. Bring the heel in. Press your foot into the block, press your right thigh down. Roll the outside of your left thigh down towards the floor. And then with your exhalation, come as far forward as you can with a flat back. So the last thing to come down actually is the forehead. When you come in, we'll go towards the more classic pose in just a second. But so it goes abdomen, chest, chin, forehead. I'll show you that. Inhale, come back up. Straighten both legs, come back to Dandasana. Now, place the block again on your left leg. Roll your right thigh back as you bring your right heel in. And lately they've gotten really picky about the angle, the Iyengar people, about the angle of the legs. And I think you can tweak your hip if it's not ready and you put your leg too far back. But as long as it feels all right for you, Iyengar has his way far back. For a while, they were teaching it like tree pose. So I'm going to say it's somewhere in between tree pose and back and the beyond. All right, that's the bent leg. All right, so turn to face your straight leg and pull on the strap. Then walk your hands down the strap with a lifted chest. All right. So if your chest is lifted and your abdomen is on your leg, then you're ready to move your chest towards your leg. Okay. Then everyone can move their forehead towards their foot, in this case, your left foot. So the top of your head is moving towards your foot, and then see if you can bring your chin to your shin. So rather than just putting the forehead down, because that's just moving your neck, you're extending forward by bringing your chin down. And obviously this is not going to be anywhere close for many of you. I'm just showing the completed pose. Okay, if you have a lot of arm left over, then lift your elbows up and bend your elbows. Inhale, lift up. Switch sides. So I'll show from a different angle, just so you can see better. So both the angle of my bent knee, which I'm mirroring, so I'm doing the opposite side. So you're gonna bend your right leg. Oh, I'm doing the same leg again. Oh well. You're gonna bend your other leg. I'm gonna do the same leg again. All right. So this is not quite with my hip. If it was, it would be more like this. So it's a little bit out, but I'm not purposely rotating that out. And then I'm gonna turn towards my straight leg, lift my chest, press my straight leg thigh down, press the outside of my bent leg thigh down, and then walk forward, my hands forward, keeping a flat back. Then, once my abdomen is down, I take my chin forward and try to bring my chin toward my shin. I bend my elbows to the side, so I get a little more room to come forward. Inhale, lift back up. Come back to Dandasana. And then for Paschimottanasana, press both feet into the block, both thighs into the floor, and walk down the strap. So here it's the same rule. You're trying to bring your chin down towards your shins rather than your forehead. And at some point, mine doesn't reach anymore. So I can't bring my, in this pose, I can't bring my chin toward my shin. So I just take my forehead. So now rather than my neck being short in the back and long in the front, or the reverse, I just have a straight neck and come forward. Inhale, lift back up. All right. Now, Upavista Konasana. So take your heels towards the edge of your mat, legs wide. And again, if you can't sit on the midpoint of your sitting bones, then you need height under your hips. So take that blanket and put it under your hips. You can even, if you want a little help, if you take a corner of a blanket like this and you sit on that, that will help you limited on space. Tilt your pelvis. It'll roll you forward. I don't need that. Press your thighs down, lift your chest. Reach out with both your hands. And again, this is the same thing where you're keeping a flat back. So you may be able to, I'm just gonna flop forward if I don't stop myself. Actually, I'll bring my feet. There we go. So you can grab your big toes, grab your big toes. If you can't grab your big toes because you can't reach them, but you can come forward, then your legs are too far apart. All right. Lift your chest, look forward as you come forward. Yes, very tight in the hamstrings in this pose. You'll definitely feel the inner hamstrings more. So you're bringing your chin towards the ground rather than your forehead. Inhale, lift back up. All right, hold on to your inner legs, bring your feet together. Some of you will have a sigh of relief for Baddha Konasana. All right, if when you hold on to your feet, this is for the T-Rex group, you lean a little forward in order to just grab your feet. You can grab your toes or your ankles and lift up. The problem with grabbing your ankles is I actually end up lifting my legs a little bit. So hold onto your feet. Now, if you have long arms, you're going to interlock your fingers and wrap them around your feet like this. But I actually have to lean forward to do that. So I'm just going to grab my toes and be straight up. Okay, again, if your knees are coming up too high, you can sit on some height. If this is enough, then this is enough. Otherwise, you're going to come forward. And again, the abdomen has to go to the feet first before the head comes down. If you want to know what that feels like, you can put a block on your feet and expand your abdomen. So there's a little bit. Oh, I can't believe I need a tall block to expand. There we go. So you can feel how any kind of push from the abdomen, it actually kind of keeps your hips grounded rather than them flying up. Come back up. Lift your knees up. Straighten them out. All right, we're going to just do a simple twist before Shavasana. So from Dandasana, turn to the right. So take your right hand around your left leg, left hand behind, and turn. Either way is fine. We're just going to, I think everyone's going a different, you got it. Return to the front. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, turn the other direction. The right hand over the thigh, left hand behind, and turn. Return to the front. Okay, I'm going to do one that is sometimes frowned upon. So bend your right leg and put it over your left. And then turn to the right. Return to center and switch sides. Return to the center, straighten your legs out, sit in Dandasana, lift your chest, and then lie back for Shavasana. You can have something under your head or not. Roll your shoulders under, take your arms out to the sides, straighten your legs, rest. If you're feeling any kind of discomfort in your lower back from all the forward bends, then you can keep your knees bent, bring your knees together, push your feet into the floor, or you can rest your legs on a couch or a chair like this. Press the weight of your body into the floor. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. Rest your tongue into the base of your mouth. And use the next few moments to focus on your breath. Deepen your breath. Bend your knees. Roll to your side. Or a little further to your side and lift yourself back up to seated. Take your arms wide, lift your chest. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Think of something you're grateful for. Namaste.